Okay, hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Brad Gottschall. I am the Lower Paxton Township Manager, and in typical fashion, I'm just going to give a brief summary of this evening's agenda, which is very short, and then the board will get to action here. Under new business, the board will take up consideration of three resolutions, 21-07 through 21-09. 21-07 permits the execution of a lease purchase agreement for the acquisition of police vehicles. 21-08 and 21-09 accept the dedication of rights-of-way along Locust Lane in conjunction with the traffic signal project at the intersection of Locust and Fairmont. After this, the board will take to the subdivision and land development business, of which the agenda lists action on improvement guarantees. And finally, before adjournment, the board will authorize payment of township and authority bills, and the chair will call for any last announcements and again seek a motion of adjournment. And if any member of the public is going to be speaking on behalf of an issue, again we ask just as a reminder that you sign in for the benefit of the recording secretary. So with all that said, members of the board are seated and prepared to conduct business. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll call this meeting of the Lower Paxton Township Board of Supervisors to order. I would like to ask everyone to please stand, and Supervisor Lindsay will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I would now like to move to approval of minutes. We have minutes from the December 8th and December 15th, the December 8th budget meeting and the December 15th business meeting 2020. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for the December 8th budget meeting 2020 and the December 15th business meeting 2020.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Before we proceed to public comment, I would like to announce the Board of Supervisors did meet in executive session prior to this meeting to discuss some legal issues, and we will be meeting again following to continue that discussion. So at this point, we will open the podium to public comment. Public comment is for commenting on any item that is not on the agenda tonight. If you wish to comment on an agenda item, you'll be given an opportunity to do that at that time. So if anyone would like to address the board on an item not on the agenda, please come to the podium and give us your name and address.
Hello, Colin Powell. I'm at 4925 Colorado Avenue. I just wanted to confirm with you guys, I think we came, Ash, my wife and I have come in a few times to talk about bees and chickens. We
Yes.
just want to confirm it is on the agenda, I think is the term, and that
Yes.
would be next week, next Tuesday on the 9th?
Yes. We're having a workshop meeting next week, and workshop meetings are where it's a little less formal. We spend more time talking about issues there than we do during business meetings. So yes, that will be on the agenda for discussion next week. Yes, sir.
Awesome, wonderful. And then last question, I know there's a once every 10 years rewrite of the ordinances. Has that been scheduled yet? Any knowledge on that?
Comprehensive plan, Brad?
I'm not sure the interpretation of a once every 10 years, but yeah, from time to time the township does rewrite some of its zoning laws, its ordinances, and staff is in the process right now of getting together a list of consultants to engage in discussions surrounding that particular project.
Okay. Is there any idea of what kind of timeline that would be? Do you think that would happen this year?
It is certainly, it's in the budget this year to be done, and it is a strong desire of the board to actually get that done this year, yes. They have been planning on doing that actually the past number of years, but...
And I think just to clarify or make sure we're on the same page, around every 10 years, townships hold a public process to come up with a new comprehensive plan in which zoning maps are laid out and everybody talks about how things should work in different parts of the township. Then comes the process of actually formally implementing and making the zoning changes that you have to make. So the process of hearings or, public meetings and input and maps and stuff like that, that has occurred. And the process now is actually formally implementing the comprehensive plan. And
Yeah.
the zoning changes that.
Yeah, it's not, we don't go to every ordinance and rewrite every ordinance. That's not what occurs.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for clarifying. Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir. Please give us your name and address.
Hi, I'm Rocky Lalavani. I live at 6114 Forrestal Circle. I am Vice President of Blue Meadow Farm Homeowners Association. Been trying to get in touch with you guys, but I haven't had much success, I think, with Mr. Gottschall, and I emailed through the township website. I don't know, I haven't heard anything back from anyone.
Okay, I
We've-
never got an email. I check my emails, township
I
emails every
only
day.
emailed, I think, Mr. Henry.
Oh,
I just-
okay.
So I
Okay.
don't know if it went through, my stuff ends up in spam all the time. So I'm not blaming anyone, I just said,
Okay.
I'm just trying to get a conversation going.
On,
So within Blue Meadow Farms, there are a lot of areas that are actually owned by Lower Paxton Township. And there's not clarity on who owns what, as far as what we own as common ground, what you guys own as common ground. There's actually parking spaces that are part of the road. There's a whole big, long rigmarole. This is a 35-year history of disaster. We got to fix it. We've talked to numerous people within your township, and they've all done a wonderful job of helping us, but everyone's like, well, that's his job, and that's that one's, and they are correct. So we need to work at a top level. We need clarity on who owns what within that community, whether it's township or us. The second problem is we have problems with trucks parking within the community. Our rules do not allow trucks in the community. However, we don't own township roads. The further problem that occurs is if a truck parks on the township road, other people can't get by easily, and so now you've got safety issues. On top of that, because they're parked there, they're driving on common ground, which I believe is yours, but we are maintaining. So it's causing all of these ripples throughout.
we didn't just a couple of months ago change the ordinance relative to truck parking, didn't we?
Yeah,
I
that was.
recall we,
Did, so this is not a tractor trailer.
Okay,
This is
okay.
a large flatbed tow truck.
well, it's still a truck.
That's not, so we had a conversation with the police, and your rules say tractor. They don't say truck. So like I've got a Comcast bucket truck that's parked in the neighborhood all the time. If they park on us, we just fine them and they move eventually. But if they're on the road, I don't have the authority to do that.
Well, maybe we need to pull that ordinance back out and take another look at it.
Yeah, maybe it should be defined by gross
Right.
vehicle weight.
Well, let's,
Or
before we
axles.
start rewriting the laws here, let's take a look
I-
at what's actually happening.
I'm not looking for any action tonight.
Yeah.
All I'm looking is awareness and how do we begin a conversation and who do I need to begin
You
a
raised a
conversation?
couple things as far as clarity on who owns what, and then you have a particular problem with vehicles.
Yes.
So there's kind of two separate things, and generally if people are worried about your kind of safety seems to be one of your concerns. So I know when that's the case, we often will have the police go out and see the situation. So I think we should assess the situation first. But we like you to have a nice communication process. That I don't like that you had trouble communicating with us, because we do these things all the time. So I think
Yes.
it's good that you're here and.
I just had a question. So the roads back there, are they not the full width of a regular road because of the type of residential area it is?
So they are, you can get two cars to go by. There are no curbs and there are no sidewalks, even though there probably should have been. The whole approval of that plan was kind of a disaster.
So it's probably a safety issue because if that truck's parked there trying to get around it, people can't see, you can't
Yeah,
see
you
what's
can't-
coming the other
and-
way.
The problem is the truck parks here and this guy parks over here. And like, it just creates
Is
issues.
the person that's driving the truck live there?
He does. We don't allow trucks. We tried to talk with the police, but they said it's not a tractor.
Right, okay,
And so it was allowable.
okay. I'm gonna ask you another question, Stephen. Brad, I had brought this up about the little slivers of land in the township that we own, and you had given me the list. Could this be what he's talking about? Back there at Blue Meadows?
How do
Yeah.
how do we end up owning little slivers of land
Oh, we have slivers
inside?
of land everywhere. I got from Brad, he gave me a whole list that we need to look at. And that's what I'm wondering, is this like little slivers here and there?
I think the problem with our slivers is they're not actually deeded properly, or like they're just there.
And you
You
say
own
you've
some and
already,
we own a little part of
you've
it.
talked to the township already, you've talked to township staff.
Yes, I talked with,
Amanda?
I don't know if it was Amanda.
So, well, it's okay. My point is that somebody here is a little bit familiar with the situation, and Brad can talk to them, get some background on the land ownership issue, and then we can look at separately the truck issue. And I think then, after we assess it, and, because like you said, this is not the first time you've brought this, so I'm sure we can get some background on it and bring everybody some clarity.
Brad, we should assign one staff person to be point with this gentleman so that we run everything. So he has one person to talk to get information and answers and not have to go through, multiple departments.
Sure, sure.
So,
Well, and I think this ended up because of multiple situations with multiple people handling that one part of the situation, but not
Yeah.
everything.
if you have more than one person in charge, nobody's in charge. And that's how that works. There needs to be one point person.
Yeah, I see the last communication I personally had with you, sir, was back in January, or that was when you had emailed me last that I see, and then I had assigned your issue to the police department, and I hadn't heard since, so I thought everything was taken care of. So, well,
Now, what about
I
the
apologize
land?
for that.
What about the land? Who was taking care of that?
Well, I think that was part of this. The last issue that I was aware of was the parking of the
Okay.
large vehicle. So.
But not with the
Yes.
land that he's saying about we own, he owns.
Who plows the snow?
Yeah,
So the police, they updated me on what is acceptable and not acceptable. We want to take that a step further.
gotcha.
Who
And
plows
then
the
we'll deal with the
snow?
land.
I think it's like a Mars, one of their big massive flatbeds that they use to tow stuff.
Okay.
And
you
then I
said
have a
plow the
Comcast
snow. We
truck.
would
Yeah.
plow the snow if
Who
it,
plows the snow?
well, we do if it's
Well,
township
yeah, they're
street.
township.
Well, if
Yeah, we
don't-
plow the snow on the township streets back there.
You do, except for the townhomes.
Right, right.
Yeah. And so the other question comes up is there are parking spaces throughout the community. We believe they belong to you.
Okay,
And when you look at the deeds, that's where it gets really
okay.
convoluted.
And who would, you need to help him out?
Yeah,
I did
mean,
talk with Amanda.
Amanda, yeah, okay. I'll sit down with Amanda, see what's going on, number one, and then we'll, as Mr. Henry said, we'll assign one person and
Yeah.
get you on the right track. And
We got to figure
Get
out
these-
what's what first.
sure.
Right.
Yes.
There's multiple issues.
All right, we're here to help you,
Let's
No, I
let's
know.
take them one at a time. So,
but thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay,
thank you, sir.
Yep, thanks.
Would anybody else like to address the board? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to chairman and board member comments. Board members, do we have any comments this evening?
I'm sure Robin does.
Life's been boring.
Now, hopefully, as we move out of the pandemic, there'll be more things going on to comment on here.
I have a comment. I was just gonna say, I saw the Parks and Rec, questionnaire went out. And
Yeah.
so, I know there's not a lot of people here, but, anybody watching, please go on and take that questionnaire, fill that out so that we can get some more, the Parks and Rec can get some more guidance and, understanding for what they wanna do for the next year. That's it.
Okay, yep. Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, managers report.
Yes, sir. Members of the board, I have one item, the climbing wall in the Friendship YMCA. So on February 25th, the township held a bid opening for the climbing wall and associated equipment housed within the Friendship YMCA. Unfortunately, no bids were received for this personal property. And per the second-class township code, the township must again advertise for bids before moving forward with a private sale of the equipment. Consistent with the requirement, the request for bids will once again be advertised and available next week. Those interested in the climbing wall and/or the liquid assets as a lot are urged to visit the township's website for pertinent information. So we will have it up again for another period of time and see if we get any bids this time, consistent with code.
Is there a possibility of breaking this into like the liquid assets and then the wall itself?
Yeah, I think yes, so the original bid that we put out was just a lot of liquid assets as one alternate, and then the climbing wall structure as the base bid. And we did receive, during the period of the bid, we received a number of calls and emails from individuals interested in just one particular item, the holds or the harnesses, whatever. And unfortunately, per the bid, we were selling them as a lot. So unfortunately, per the second-class township code, we must again bid or advertise the bid as written. So again, it will be a lot purchase. And if that receives no bids again, we can go ahead and interact with these people one-on-one to sell just particular items or whatever the case may be, whatever they want. So that's kind of how it happens right now. But
Okay.
Where do we advertise that at?
Son,
the Sun, yeah, the website, actually, the Parks and Rec department reached out. I think they got, probably a list, I think Rachel said, of like 30 climbing businesses or people in the industry, and she reached out to them and sent them the bid. So we're trying as much as we can to drum up interest in it, but we didn't get any bids.
Well, it's
Is
good
there
to-
any sort of industry publication, like a journal or anything that, maybe the folks who are out of state or somewhere else in the country might have an interest if we got into a nationwide publication, if it didn't cost a fortune to get into it,
To transport it.
Yeah.
We'll look
Well,
into
yeah,
that.
it's not, you're not going to put it in the back of a pickup truck.
But it is,
one of those flatbeds sitting over,
there you go.
Well, good, we could get the flatbed out of the neighborhood.
that's
So,
what I mean.
It is good to know that there is interest on buying certain parts of it,
Yes.
And if we have to scrap the rest for metal, we could do that.
Well, we'd at least like to get enough money out of it that it doesn't cost us to remove
Right,
it.
right.
Okay. Is there anything else?
That's all I had.
That's all.
Yep.
Okay, we have no items under old business, taking us to new business, item 9A. We need to take action this evening on Resolution 21-07, this authorizing the execution of a lease purchase agreement with Santander Bank for the acquisition of Ford Fusion sedans. Mr. Godshall.
Yes, sir. Included in this year's budget, the police department will be replacing a number of criminal investigation division vehicles with new Ford Fusions. Resolution 21-07 authorizes the execution of a master lease purchase agreement through Santander Bank, establishing payments of $16,960 a year over a 5-year period for the leasing of these 4 hybrid Ford Fusions from Hoffman Ford of Lower Paxton Township. I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have about this item.
I just had a question. Why are we going with hybrid? That's such a more expensive vehicle.
We've been investigating this matter with actually a number of departments that have also gone a hybrid route with some of their vehicles, and the savings those departments have been realizing in gas consumption far outweigh the extra cost of the vehicle. So yeah, the department has done some research into that, and they found that this is a pretty good thing to further investigate
Okay.
through the purchase of them. So.
When I saw the hybrid, because I know that's a very expensive car, so.
Actually, the cost, I wasn't prepared with the actual, but the difference between the non-hybrid model and the hybrid model wasn't excessively excessive. Yeah, like I said, the gap in the cost was far exceeded by the saving in gas.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve action on Resolution 2107 authorizing the execution of a lease purchase agreement with Santander Bank for the acquisition of Ford Fusion sedans, hybrids.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Item 9B, we need to take action on Resolution 21-08, and I see the next two are related here, accepting the dedication of additional right-of-way along the north side of Locust Lane, and we're going to be repealing Resolution 20-19. So, Mr. Stein, we're making a correction, I assume?
That we are. If you recall, back in August of 2020, there were a couple areas of dedicated right-of-way along Locust Lane, and maybe some along the other street, which I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But
Fairmont Drive.
yeah, so what we did is we developed resolutions to basically accept those dedications, which occurred some years ago. Sometime after that, the engineer discovered that the plats that were given to me were incorrect, that were attached to the resolutions at that time. So that needed to be corrected. So the engineer got to me the correct plats and also the correct legal descriptions. And a couple minor modifications had to be made to both of the resolutions, and that's where you get 2108 and 2109, because they were there to correct each of those resolutions. One was 2019 and the other was 2020. Now these are ready for adoption by the board, and that way we'll have the correct right-of-way properly dedicated to the township and accepted. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Steve, I just had a question. I had questioned this in November. I think I looked back, it was November the 17th. Because we did a ratification, and I questioned that because I didn't ever remember doing that. It was always a resolution. Does this have anything to do with that?
It does not. This was the dedicated right-of-way from years ago, so we don't do a ratification on that. We have to actually do a resolution to accept the old dedication with both of these.
Okay, because I knew there was an issue early on about the plots, but I thought we had taken care of that.
Yeah,
'Cause-
apparently, the plats that I was provided were for some reason not correct. I don't know what was wrong with them, but I was just advised that they had to be corrected. And so they were emailed to me, the plats and the legal descriptions, and I made some modifications, as I said, to these two resolutions as a result of that. And but now they're correct and they're ready to go.
So did they come from HRG? Is that where the mistake was?
I don't think the plats came from HRG. They came from traffic planning and design. Both of them.
Because this is probably a holdup now with the light, because doesn't all this stuff have to go in for the highway occupancy permit to PennDOT?
Well, these resolutions won't be a holdup because if you adopt them this evening, then they'll be in place.
Okay. But I'm thinking they should have been done a long time ago.
They probably should have been, but for some reason, I guess nobody noticed that there was something wrong with the plats.
Somebody screwed up somewhere, and I'm trying to figure out where, because this has put a hold on this light.
No,
Well,
you
wait,
just
no,
said
you
it's
just
not
said it
putting a
didn't
hold on it.
Put a hold on it.
So-
There are other things that, will have an effect on when the light goes in, I would think. One of them is that, my understanding is that PennDOT has not decided yet whether, the township has already acquired 3 other easements from the neighboring property owners. And, but PennDOT is thinking that maybe it wants to actually get the dedication directly from the property owners to PennDOT, as opposed to having them go through the township. So I don't think they've made up their mind on that yet, of which direction they want to go. And I have no direct knowledge of that, other than apparently there was a conference call today involving the engineers and PennDOT, and PennDOT is still, I guess, debating internally of how they want to handle that. So that'll be something that's going to require a little bit of work yet, I think.
Is that rare?
Well, I thought it was, because usually PennDOT will have the local municipality acquire all the easements and then later transfer them to PennDOT. But this time, it doesn't look like that's going to happen, but I'm not certain.
So that's different than the way we did it with Nyes Road and Devonshire Heights?
I
thought-
believe it is, yeah.
Well, what makes the difference if we give them the rights or they get them from the property owners, they still get the rights?
I know, I don't know.
Yeah, because we do not want anything holding this up if we can help
No.
it.
So how
What we're
can we-
looking for, late spring installation, wasn't that
It was
the?
late spring, early summer. How can we find out why this is so different from all the other lights that we've taken care of?
Again, I wasn't at the meeting or in the conference call, but I suspect maybe one of the engineers may have some insight into that, but I'm not certain. I don't know why. Apparently, I don't know. PennDOT seems to be a little bit baffled by of what to do in this situation, which I'm not sure why. I've never experienced that before. If you recall, when we did the Lingletown project, Lower Paxton acquired all the easements in that entire project.
To me, it doesn't matter where they get it from, as long as it doesn't delay it.
I know.
That's the key.
So when
Yeah,
you're
Why
saying
is it even an
engineer-
issue?
Yeah, when you're
Uh,
saying
it's-
engineer, is it HRG engineer or the traffic, that traffic
Well, they would have
company?
been both, they both would have been on the conference call today, from my understanding. So perhaps TPD would be the one to contact to see
Could you
what their
make a
thought
phone
is
call,
about
Brad,
that.
and see what's going on? Please.
Sure.
Okay, well, let's get back to the issue right in front of us. Do we have any additional questions or comments on proposed resolution 21-08?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move. We approve resolution 2108, accepting the dedication of additional right-of-way along the north side of Locust Lane and repealing resolution 2019.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Item 9C also accepts the dedication of additional right-of-way along the north side of Locust Lane, this adjacent to the Hearthside development, and repealing Resolution 20-20. I guess nothing more needs to be said. It's
Same reason, I guess.
same thing. So is there a motion?
I'll make the motion, we approve resolution 21-09, accepting the dedication of additional right-of-way along the north side of Locust Lane adjacent to Hearthside Development and repealing resolution 2020.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you, Mr. Stein. We now go to subdivision and land development, and we have a rather extensive list of improvement guarantees. Anybody have any questions about these?
Yeah, I just had a question, Brad, about sheets. They're calling for an extension increase. That's been since 2013 over there, and we're in 2021. So can you tell me, it said something in there about monuments. When they went there, the monuments were not in place. How comes they weren't made to put those in? That's been 8 years.
Yeah, you stumped me. Mrs. Zerby prepped me on the stray winds improvement guarantees, if there were going to be any questions for that, and not sheets. So she didn't seem to think sheets would be
I just had a
questioned. So
question
yeah,
because it's been so long.
Sure.
And it said that it required monuments, and when they went there to look at them, the monuments still haven't been replaced or hasn't been put in yet. How long do we let these type of improvement guarantees go?
At least 7 years.
What's 8 now?
8?
Well, Weiss
Yeah,
goes back to 2014.
Yeah, well, it went back to 2013.
I mean, Weiss is back to 2014.
Oh, 24,
Yeah.
okay, but Sheets is
Or no, that's,
2013.
I'm sorry, that's Sheets.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm really not. I really can't speak to the monument issue or that improvement guarantee generally. I'd have to get back to you on that one.
okay.
Nonetheless, we have to take action on these improvement guarantees this evening. So would anybody like to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we approve the improvement guarantees as outlined in the public agenda.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved in. You two are operating in tandem here tonight. Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. This takes us to payment of bills for Lower Paxton Township and the Lower Paxton Township Authority. Mr. Treasurer.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the payment of bills for Lower Paxton Township and Lower Paxton Township Authority.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any further announcements, board members?
Just a question for Brad. The gentleman that was interested in turning the roads over from Stray Winds Farms, did we reach out to him and kind of explain to him what that process is?
I'll follow up with Mrs. Zerby on that. Yeah, I assigned that to her, so she hasn't responded whether or not she did that or not. But rest assured, it was assigned to somebody. So
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I have something. This is more of a Dauphin County thing, but for anybody that's watching, if you know anybody or if you yourself are having any issues paying your mortgage, or your rent, rent and utilities, Dauphin County is offering a grant. You can find that on their website, dauphincounty.org, .gov, sorry. And it's emergency rent assistance. Also, if you're a small business owner and you're having a hard time, with your business, there's $15 million that's available, and they're encouraging people to join that program. That's the COVID Hospitality Industry Recovery Program. So please visit their website if you're having issues as a result of COVID that you can't pay those bills. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Navarro, anybody else?
Well, it's not all businesses, is it? Isn't it specific businesses?
It's specific to, thank you. It's specific to hospitality industry. So it would be, anybody in the hospitality industry would be able to be able to receive some money from that. But they struggled a lot this year. Obviously, everybody did, but the hospitality industry really struggled, and we lost a lot of good businesses.
Yes, we have.
Yes.
Okay, hearing nothing else, our next board meeting will be Tuesday of next week. It'll be March 9th at 7 p.m. That will be a workshop meeting. We will talk about chickens and bees, among other things. So that will be next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Is there now a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye.
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 Meeting adjourned.